I want to tell you a story about a man who died while he was still breathing. For 15 years, I was a ghost. I moved to a new country with big dreams, but I ended up behind a service desk, climbing a corporate ladder that was leaning against the wrong wall. I was successful on paper, but I was obese. My spine was screaming in pain, and my liver was struggling under the weight of a life I didn't want. I was waiting for a winning lottery moment to save me. But the Bible tells us in Proverbs 13:12, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. My heart was sick because I was deferring my hope to a someday that didn't exist. Today, I'm going to show you how I stopped waiting for the draw and started designing the tree of life in the Hungarian countryside. I'm going to show you how to find your Monday again. We get stuck in the ATM paradox. We think our only purpose is to dispense cash for bills, for the kids, for the mortgage. We lose our identity. So when I moved here to Hungary in Central Europe, I finished my studies in human sciences, specifically political science and international relations. So I was passionate and it was my desire to work in this field. But since I was a migrant, I couldn't enter to this field of business. So soon I had to search for different jobs and find something that I can finance my studies. It was very difficult, so I just started to see what kind of skills I have. So I started teaching language. Then I entered to the sales and also started working as a service desk agent just 15 years ago. So this was actually where I moved from finishing my studies and working part-time into the service desk industry. And this was a kind of, for me, a cage reality. So I felt like out of necessity, sometimes I'm doing something that it doesn't give me energy and I can't really feel under my skin like a true happy Dave. And what happened, I kind of lived in a kind of a chained dream, I was looking for a better job. I would be patient and I have a salary, so it's better not to take a risk and let's do it tomorrow. Let's wait for that amount of capital that I can start a fresh new business. So this postponing actually creates a kind of a chain, and then days are going and months are passing on and years is gone. And unfortunately, if you are not disciplined to create a balance between your soul, your spirit and your body, so if there is no balance between your work and life, like in my case, I just suddenly recognized, in the beginning I had just minor backache and spine issues, and then it increases, then COVID came and more home offices and more hours behind the desk. So I ended up actually having spinal cord issue. So I had drastic pain that I had to go to doctor, and they prescribed me thermal baths and massage and physiotherapeutic exercises. And then I was slightly obese and then I felt a bit my weight is not something to be, and I wasn't happy. So all of these issues created because I wasn't happy at my job. I was in the fog. I didn't have a huge capital to start over, and I just had a choice. So at the end, very end of it, I say, die at that desk or take a risk on the action man approach, which I call it. It's one of the shift. So what happened? I moved with my wife to the countryside here. I started, a kind of a wine bar, a small business, and everything actually from then on changed. It is almost 4 or 5 years. I moved to the countryside. I start talking to local winemakers, and I designed my current wine bar. And it made me the life that actually I dreamed. And I decided that my Monday had to be a joy, not a necessity. To do this, I want to tell you that you will need 3 shifts. The first shift is recognition. Stop calling your cage a comfort zone. It's not comfortable, it's killing you. If you don't come out of your comfort zone, you can't expect a big change. So this kind of winning lottery strategy is not going to work. What it means by comfort zone. Comfort zone means your villain, your fears within you. Like, let's say, what if I leave this job? Am I going to find something similar or even better? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to pay the fuel, pay the rent? All of these fears. Will I be fortunate enough to find a job? What if not? So all what if, this actually makes you feel more comfortable to stay in the comfort zone. And since you stay in that comfort zone, nothing actually changes. Shift number 2, the goodwill. You have to recognize that you are not happy or you are not in your best potential. And you have to wish for better. So here, having like a recognition and willing to change and willing to admit that you have a dream and you have a desire to reach. You have to believe you are worth more than a paycheck. This brings you to shift number 3, the rapid step. So most of us think like, oh, I need to wait for something big. How can I change my habits? How can I do this? How can I do that? And then again, procrastinating, postponing things. And you think, oh, but how am I going to these biggest steps, and how can I just leave this habit and start it over? And then if we are prone to feel lazy or postponing and delaying things. But this is very important because you can have actually a minor tangible step. We call it rapid step. You don't need $1 million. You need a move. You need a brave move right now. Right now. Take your step today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, and not next year. You need to reclaim your biological edge. You don't have to reach to your goal like overnight. Making little steps confidently. What it means, change doesn't happen like overnight. You need to take steps like, let's say today, I promise and discipline myself to take, let's say, a short walk for 5 minutes. Today I'm gonna do exercise, and then today I'm gonna give myself a 10-minute, so a real free 10-minute, no mobile use, no scrolling, no music, no distraction, no watching TV. So quality 10 minutes with you yourself. Or today, I'm gonna read 2 pages of that book that I always wanted to read. So these by little steps, and this actually, the start is very important. As far as you start, every day it becomes easier, and you can imagine yourself reaching your goal and enjoying to becoming a new person. So here it's actually changed my life a little bit. The Prism Scorecard, which is your second act audit. I did the test, I took the test myself. It only take few minutes. And I scored what the life before, Dave before opening his own wine bar and creating his Dave's Life Prism channel, and Dave after becoming a new person. And my scores, as you can see, I scored out of these 5 questions 20 out of 50, which is actually a very low score. So you could imagine that's what was my situation during those years. And now if I honestly take the test again, I scored over 40. So I scored 41 out of 50, which is very good. And I didn't score 50 because I am a perfectionist and I will be more critical. So I still need to take more steps and, to polish, to refine. I have these goals and I have to refine my steps and my work to reach actually the kind of we are not perfect. We don't need to score 50. If someone scores 50, I would say congratulations. That's such a great score. If you score below 25, you are a ghost in your own life. I was a ghost in my own life for many years, but just I didn't want to admit it. I said, it's good to be optimist, but sometimes it's good to be a realist, which means it's good that you have dreams and positivity that make you a better person and become patient. But then if you're too over optimist, then you forget, let's say, to admitting the reality. So these two should be in balance. If you are in the fog, it means your score is 25 to 39. So you are drifting toward a midlife you won't recognize. So now, when I look now, I'm a much happier person. I don't go through the, tomorrow is Monday syndrome anymore. So I would look and say, Monday, it's actually my weekend. Because I work like over a weekend and the holidays. And when I am at my place, I move around and serve the customers. And then I engage to conversations with new people. And sometimes, we learn from each other, and I help some of my actually friends came from my customers, my great visitors. And I also help them. So sometimes we have small group sessions or one-to-one sessions, and we made really great relationship. We make great friends. So at wine bar, it's great, if you like wine. That's something I'm passionate about. So I have the opportunity to taste some of the great wines that here we have in Hungary. And then enjoy some time, then listening to music, sometimes dancing. And so it was one of my dreams that I said I would be motivated and passionate, to do something. And that is like, if you're doing something, you would be among the small, tiny percentages of a very fortunate people if your hobby and your real work collides. Most of the people, they're doing a job out of necessity or just because the job is paying well, but truly don't seem to be very motivated. I mean, I'm talking about a big percentage in the world. The moment you realize life is moving too fast is the moment you must start designing it intentionally. So download the scorecard below, do the audit honestly. If your career vanished tomorrow, how much of you is left? If the answer scares you, email me at dave@daveslifeprism.com. I'm opening a few spots for a free consultation because I've been where you are and I know the way out. Stop waiting for the lottery. I'll see you in the second act.